Their habit of taking their dead with them only adds to the dark tales concerning their true nature. The more superstitious hivers believe they cannot be killed, a claim only reinforced by stories of nomads surviving injuries that would kill a normal man. Hmm, you know, that sounds a little familiar. Welcome back to Dice Paper Miniatures. We're back at it again, looking at the latest on Necromunda's new Ash Waste release, which hopefully gives some insight as to what we can expect this new, I guess, gang will look like. Let's check it out. So we start off by focusing on a few core cities within the Wastes. So Necromunda is a world of staggering industrial output. Its hive cities are great factories with billions of workers endlessly churning out weapons, equipment, and goods for the greater Imperium. At the center of this web of industry stands Hive Primus. Special note, which you can't see in this image, but I'll help with that here in just a second. The gateway to the great orbital station known as the Eye of Selene and the stars and systems beyond, through which all trade must flow. To feed the armies and worlds which rely upon Necromundan factory, there must be a constant stream of maglev trains, stratoplanes, and tubeway capsules carrying cargo from across the planet to the Palatine cluster at which Primus is the center. The bulk of goods, however, must be transported overland across the inhospitable ash waste on cargo 8 ridge haulers or dune runners. These convoys are run by the Mercator Gelt, also known as the Guild of Coin to the layman, make many perilous journeys along the north-south or east-west trade routes. Those coming from Hive Rothgol in the west or Hive Kronos in the east travel the Great Ash Road, while those hailing from the Minerva cluster must traverse the Minerva Highway. As I pointed out, this map is a little difficult as it doesn't really reference a lot of what the article's talking about, so let's help with that here. So this is the Palatine cluster. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. These maps are available in some of the previous released articles, and I'm hoping to kind of help with that by showing those here to explain a little bit what this article that we're looking at now is talking about. So hopefully that zooms in enough. But this is the Palatine cluster, Hive Primus at the center, and then the Minerva Highway is to the south of the Palatine cluster, specifically south of Hive Primus. You'll see Minerva Highway, and along that strip, you see the Mercator Gate. So let's go ahead and zoom out of that. And then back to the map that came with the article. In this version, the Mercator Gate and the Minerva Highway are basically at the north top left part of this map. The article will go on to talk about the Cinderrack City, which is just south of that Mercator Gate. So let's zoom in. Hopefully that kind of helps translate what the article is referencing. The map that they showed us didn't really, I think, capture that all that well, but here you go. Hopefully this helps. All right, let's jump back to the article. So let's carry on. So key to this north-south trade is the Cinderrack City and the great crater in which it shelters. Resting on Necromunda's equator, this marks the halfway point between Hive Minerva and Hive Primus. It was created centuries ago during the civil war between Lady Cinderrack Helmar and Lord Gothril Helmar, when the former obliterated Hive Meridian in a fit of rage at their sibling. The outland settlement of Cinderrack City was built upon the bones of the old Hive, quickly growing into a trading hub only loosely controlled by the Merchant Guild, and far beyond the reach of the noble houses. It was not long before the clan houses moved in to take a cut of the trade, House Orlok principal among them, which kind of segues into, I think, why this first box release has the Orloks along with the Nomad Warriors. So rigs and runners bearing the icon of House of Iron are a common sight in the wastes around Cinderrack, guarding the land trains or, just as often, running them off the road. This is a pretty cool image of what we have for the new buggies. The artwork for Orloks here. Yeah, these new Orlok buggies are pretty cool, at least in the illustration. Of course, the models, that scale's always a little wonky, but I think overall this I like the addition. I'll be curious to see if we're just restricted to that current smaller vehicle size, but so far we don't have an answer on that. Although it's probably safe to say that we are going to be restricted to that smaller vehicle size. Assuming the rules are, tight, then that shouldn't be an issue. All right, so of course, everyone knows that the farther you travel from the shadow of Hive Primus and its sister hives, the more dangerous the wastes become. Beyond the heavy fortifications of the Mercator Gate, the power of the Outland Enforcers wanes, and the strength of the Wasteland tribes increases. Cinderak City itself only endures the frequent nomad raids by virtue of its high walls and the unforgiving nature of its inhabitants. So here we have the Ash Waste nomads, also sometimes referred to as just nomad warriors. All right, so few of the many dangers in the waste terrify travelers more than the Ash Waste nomads. To the Hivers, the nomad tribes are as alien and unsettling as any Xenos species. And though they might appear as men, there can be no doubt their culture and perhaps their very biology diverged from the rest of mankind long ago. Interesting. And of course, yeah, there's a little bit of reference from some other science fiction properties, you could say. The first thought I had amongst that, of course, were the Tusken Raiders, but they've also borrowed a lot from Road Warrior, specifically the newer movie. But frankly, I'm totally okay with that. So, anyways, the origins of the Ash Waste nomads are mired in myth and legend. Ancient tales recount how, when the Iron Lords were cast down by the Imperium, the last true citizens of the Arrhenius continuity fled from their oppressors into the wastes of their now blighted world. Some say the nomads are descended from these first people, tormented and changed by the wasteland into the creatures that stalk the wilds today. A hatred of the Imperium and its proxy, House Helmar, still fresh in their hearts. The ruthless Ash Waste nomads are brutal in battle, striking with utter surprise. Clad in their flowing Haz Arn, or ash cloaks, they lie for hours beneath shifting ashen sands, waiting for their prey to draw near. They strike with sudden and overwhelming force to bring down their quarry and claim their loot before fading back into the wastes. Dune also comes to mind now. Again, not complaining. Totally on board with that. Their habit of taking their dead with them only adds to the dark tales concerning their true nature. The more superstitious hivers believe they cannot be killed, a claim only reinforced by stories of nomads surviving injuries that would kill a normal man. Yeah, definitely familiar sounding. All right, so this is a pretty cool little setup. So far, along with this image, which I'll talk about here in a moment, it seems like we're kind of getting a little bit, not just the lore or some background fluff, if you will, on the Ash Waste nomads or nomad warriors, but it allows us to get kind of an idea of what to expect their playstyle to be. So obviously they strike likely fast. They seem to be a combination of melee and ranged attacks, fairly durable sounding at the very least. And yeah, I'll be curious to see what kind of special mechanics that their specific gang has. And if they favor range or melee. It seems at first blush it's melee, and they may kind of have like the extremes. They may have a sniper class and a melee class. They might be kind of a combination of maybe like Escher and Delac, possibly. I'll be curious to see, definitely. And what's cool about this image, it looks like we might be getting some more terrain pieces. It looks like there's a little bit of some of the market set in there, but that kind of tubular outcropping, that looks new to me. So I'll be curious to see if that's a terrain set that we get later down the road, because it just doesn't seem familiar. It looks like it thematically fits in great, but I didn't see that in the box that they did in the preview. If you haven't checked that video out, check out my Adepticon preview. Take a look right up there in the corner. There's a link to that video, but that video kind of highlights the box release specifically. This is, again, a little bit more about the fluff, as well as what the fluff is telling us about how this playstyle might be for the nomads. All right, so one of their more terrifying aspects is their connection to the wasteland Helamites. Those are the insects that they ride in battle, not necessarily vehicles, but their version of vehicles. These deadly insect predators, designated endomorphs by Imperial scriveners, are seemingly as old as the wastes themselves. Born of the toxic deserts and chem-rich soil, Helamites live in great rubbish-infused mounds, yet the ash waste nomads have somehow managed to tame them and now ride them into battle. So, yeah, really interesting stuff. I'm really enjoying the look of this new faction. Yes, it borrows some, from some existing science fiction properties, which again, I'm totally okay with that. I've mentioned in previous videos it has kind of a Tatooine Tusken Raiders with the Road Warrior kind of mashed together, but there's also a bit of a Dune vibe as well. So again, super cool. But what do you think? Are you digging this lore? Do you think this is enough yet to kind of glean what the playstyle will be of these new Nomad Warriors? I'd definitely be interested in your thoughts about it in the comments below. So, yeah, definitely. I'm digging this art, by the way. I think the art really does a lot of justice to the theme, to the feel of this expansion, if you will. If you haven't yet, this is from a previous article, but this is one of their concept illustrations for the Ashwaste Nomads. Just, I dig it. I dig it a lot. And again, I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are on the art and the overall aesthetic of this new expansion. And if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel, and it really helps if you hit that notification bell and share this content. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and grow this channel, and it's greatly appreciated. All right, well, as always, thank you so much for checking out this episode. Take care, be safe, and have a great day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.